I'm Maria from Crochet A to Z, and in this tutorial I want to show you how to make a seamless granny square. You can't tell where you started, you can't tell where you ended, and we're going to change colors. So we're going to begin with a slip knot, as we always do, and we're going to chain 4. Now this is the same exact pattern that I did with the other tutorial on a granny square, that it was a solid granny square. So we're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to do a slip stitch in that very first chain that we made. And now I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to do a double crochet right inside there. So I'm going to do a double crochet. We're going to do a second double crochet and a third double crochet right inside, right in the middle of that round. So if you can see, that's where my finger is, that's where we're going to do them. We're going to chain 2, and we're going to do 3 more double crochets. 1, 2, 3. We're going to chain 2. We're going to do 3 more. And you're going to see how the middle ends up getting really defined as you do this, and it has, as you add on the rows. So then I'm going to do my final set of 3s. I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to pull this a little bit, and I'm wrapping my yarn around that end so that it can all be almost seamed in. 2 and 3. Going to chain 2, and I'm going to go to the top of this double crochet and do a slip stitch. Now I'm going to cut my yarn because I'm going to do the second round with a different color. Now I'm going to do the second round, and I'm going to pick another color. So let's go with this color. When I do this, I'm going to make a slip knot, and I'm going to add it on to one of these corners. And I'm going to go right in there with that. I'm going to chain 1 and start my double crochets. That chain 1 counts as nothing. 1, 2. Again, that chain 1 counts as nothing. So I'm going to be doing my double crochets. Now I'm going to chain 2. Do 3 more right in that same corner. So now we're going to start making our corners. So there's 1, there's 2, there's 3. So now we have a corner all made, 3 and 3. There's your 6 with your chain 2 in the middle. Now we're going to chain 1 because we're not in a corner, so we're going to chain 1, and we're going to do 3 more double crochets. 1, 2, 3, chain 2, 3 more double crochets, we're making our second corner. We're making our second corner. We're going to chain one. We're going to the next corner, and I'm going to wrap that yarn sort of in a way that I'm going to pick some of that up as I go around. So we're going to make a second corner. We're going to chain, do a chain one, do 3 double crochets, 1, and those tails, they kind of peek out at you, 2, 3, but that's okay because as you go around, you're going to be wrapping it up. There's 1, we're going to chain 1, chain 2, and then we're going to do 3 more double crochets in that corner. So you're going to see 2, 3. And you're going to see that this is really starting to look like your square. Now we're going to chain 1. We're going to make 3 more double crochets in this corner. My yarn split, so I'm just going to go back and fix it and come out. And we're going to do that. We're going to do another one. So there's your 3 together, chain 2. And we're going to make our last 3 double crochets here. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to chain 1. And we're going to grab the top of this and we're going to go in there and we're going to do a slip stitch like we did the other time. We're going to go right through and we're going to cut that as well. And you're going to see that this is, so we're going to pull that through. And look how nice it's starting to get defined. Isn't that pretty? So now I'm picking another color. So I'm going to go with the darker color this time. And I'm going to do another slip knot. Because this is the way I like to do these. So now I'm not going to go in the corner. I'm going to go in the middle because there's middles to this. You got your corners. You're going to start seeing middles to this because of the fact that you're adding. And as you go around and you add to this, you're going to have not just ends, but you're going to have middles. So there's my slip knot, and I chained, and then here we go. My first double crochet, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to chain 1, and we're going in the corner now. So we're going to do 3, 3 more, and then we're going to chain 1, and we're going to do 3 more, and there's a little knot in my yarn here, so I'm just going to pull it out so that we can continue without a problem. And I'm going to chain 2, so let's just make sure I chain 2. One, 2, And I'm going to make 3 more double crochets, because don't forget, you're in your corner. And I'm going to show you what I mean by having a middle and then having a corner. And again, my yarn is split, so I'm going to just fix it. That's 2. And that's 3. And then I'm going to chain 1. And I'm going in the middle. So this is what I mean by, now that you've done more than one row, you're going to get middles instead of just corners. So we're going to go right around that. You're going to have middles instead of just corners. And that's, and then I'm going to chain 1. And here's my corner again. And as it gets bigger, you're going to get middles and more middles, I should say. But you'll always have 4 corners. So there's, and then we're going to do 3 here. We're going to chain 2. And then we're going to do 3 more. We're going to chain 1. We're in the middle again. See, we're in the middle. And when I mean by the middle, and I'm going to grab this little end and I'm going to just pull it through the other side. And what I mean by the middle is you're not in a corner. So we're going to do 3 more double crochets in the middle. And we're heading towards another corner. We're going to chain 1. We're going to do 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. We're going to chain 2. We're going to do 3 more double crochets. 1, 2, 3. And that was another corner. Then we're going to the middle again. We're going to chain 1. We're going to do 3 more double crochets. We're going to chain 1. We're going to go in the middle of that corner. We're going to do 3 double crochets. We're going to chain 2 because we're in a corner. We're going to do 3 more double crochets. And this really does, as you get used to making them, it'll work pretty quickly. So now we're going to chain 1, and we're going to go to the top of that double crochet, the very tip top, because we did 3. There's our 3. And that chain 1, like I said before, does not count as anything. So we're going to do a slip stitch. We're going to tighten that up, and we're going to cut this. And this is our, now I want to show you what we're looking at. See how it's starting to get defined? There's your middle. And these colors really are vibrant, so they really do bring out the granny square because you're changing colors. And when you change colors like that, it really does bring out the vibrancy of the granny square. So now we're going to change colors again, and I'm going to do my slip knot. I'm going to figure out where I want to go. You can go wherever you want. I kind of play with it and figure out where I want to go with this. And then there's my slip knot, and I'm going to put my yarn through it. My crochet hook, I'm sorry, through it. And I'm going to go through chain 1. And we're going to do, and then I'm going to look for that tail. Like I said, I like to look for it because what I do is I work it in so that, so there's 1, 2, 3. So there's my 3. And I've worked that, and when I say I'm working it in there, see it, it's right in there. So I can cut that after because I've worked it in. Chain 1. Now see, you got 2 middles before you get to your corners because this is getting bigger now. So we're gonna do 3 more double crochets in the middle of your corners. Now you're going to chain 1, and we're going to go right into this corner. We're going to do 3 double crochets. Then we're going to chain 2. We're going to do 3 more double crochets. We're going to chain 1. Chain 2 is only in the corners. When you go to your middles, you do not chain 2. You just chain 1. Chain 1. You're still in the middle because your middles are growing. This is how I like to say I'm in the middle, I'm in the corner. Chain 1, I'm in a corner. Two, 3. I'm in this corner now. I'm going to chain 2. I'm going to chain 3 more in this corner. I'm going to chain 1. I'm going in the middle. 1, 2, 3. And if you notice, I'm getting that tail in that I'm going to end up cutting. Chain 1, and I'm going to do 3 more in the middle. One, 2, 3. Chain 1. I'm back to a corner. And this is how you work, or I say the way I work, my granny squares. Now this is going to be my corner, so I'm going to chain 2. And then once you do this, it'll be second nature. You won't even have to say, I'm going to chain 2, I'm going to chain 1. You'll know right off the bat that that's what you're going to do. We're working the middles. And like I said, these granny squares will go fast. Once you get used to doing them, they will go quite quickly. And you just won't even have to think about it. And if you have stash that you have left from other projects that you've made, this is a great way to use it. But I'm going to show you other ways that you can use your stash as well for other projects that are good to use for leftover yarn. And if you don't have leftover yarn stash, then you can create one by just buying different colors and then, you know, using the different colors. Because a granny square, if you're making a blanket, it uses a lot of yarn. So what you do is you just buy, and then you can mix and match as you go along and make your granny squares. And you might want to use certain colors, and that's fine. You're the creator. You make it the way you want. You create your granny square the way you want to create it. So now I'm going to go in my chain there, top of that, and I'm going to do a slip stitch right through there. Because here we go. There's the granny square. Look how nice it's coming. And I'm going to cut this. I love my little scissors too. And just remember to have everything available to you as you move along, because it'll make your job easier once you go. So now I did this one, and this, as you see, it has row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. The reason why I didn't count this one is this is going to be my borders for all of it. Including that, it'll be 6 rows. So now we're getting from row 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to go to row 5, because once we do row 5, that's when we're going to be putting our border on. So you're going to put in, you know, depending on what color border you want. You don't want to make a black border, that's fine. You want to make an off-white one, you want to make a white one, that's totally up to you. You make the color border that you want for your, you know, for your granny square. So I did my slip knot, chain 1, and I'm going to start, again, I grab this tail and I bring it over so that I can get it right into that. And that chain 1 does not count as any stitch. And now I'm going to do my 3 double crochets, chain 1, and we're going to just move right along. And you could make quite a few of these in a night if you were going to sit down and say, oh, I'm going to work on my granny square blanket tonight. I think I'll make some squares, and you sit down and you just kind of figure out, well, I'll see how many I can do in a night. And then you just move along and you make your granny squares. Some people don't border them with the black or whatever border they're going to do until they get them all done. I tend to think it's easier to just border them as you go. So you do your how many rows that you want, and then here's my tail again. I'm going to wrap that right in there so that, see, it's wrapped right in there. I want to just show you. There's my tail, so I'm going to kind of wrap it in there. So it's up to you entirely how you want to do it. I just think it's easier because then you're picking up you're picking it up twice to, if you, quite honestly, if you make it when you're making all of this, I think it's easier so that you're not saying, oh, well, I got to pick them all up again, and now I got to put my borders on. This way your border's already on, and you can just start going into putting together, piecing together your granny square, because it's all ready. You've done, so you think of that border, that black border, or whatever border color you're going to use, you think of that as your 6th one, or if you make, depending on how many rows you make, and you just count that in as, and then you just have it all done. And I've seen these made in a lot of beautiful colors, so you can really, it's very versatile, and you can really make whatever you want as far as the color scheme that you want. They're really pretty, and they just, they work up fast. So don't be afraid to design your own. Don't be afraid to figure out, the color schemes that you want to go with, because, if you have a particular color room, I made one with the black border, but I made them all different color blues. I actually made them pretty big. So I just wanted to make them all blue. I wanted to, and it was a gift to someone, and I made them with all blue, but different color blues with the black border. So it all depends. I've made them with all gray and a black border. So it just depends. And naturally, I've made them the multicolor ones as well as the others. Now, you can make a lot of things with granny square pattern. You can make scarves with these. They make pretty scarves. You can make hats with them. You can make a lot of different things. This is a very versatile pattern. So there's a lot of things that you can make. You can make a bed warmer with this. Say you wanted to put just on your bed, you wanted to put just a border on your bed of granny squares, and you leave it there at night to keep your feet warm. You can do that as well. You can make pillows with them. You can make cardigans with them. You can make one large granny square. You could take this granny square and keep putting all different colors onto this and make one big granny square Afghan. And they call that the Amish pattern Afghan. And it really is beautiful. And I have made them. I've made baby blankets in it, as well as regular Afghans. So there's a lot. Like when I say it's versatile, it really is. If you wanted to just go on and just continue with different colors with this one square, and just add the colors that you want. If you want to go funky, go funky. It's all up to you and how you want to make it. It's, that's up to you. And there's a lot of things that you can, do. So you're going to chain one. And you're going to go in here. And I did do a video on how to weave in ends, so you can see that video and how to weave in your ends. And now we're going to go to I think it's our last corner on here. Chain 2, and see the variations in colors. Now I used basically the same colors, but I changed them around. That's what I'm saying that you can do. You can, make certain colors that you wanted to make, but you can just vary the way you put them on here, to make a certain color scheme that you want to go with. And then what you do is you just lay out all your granny squares after they're done, and you can lay them out a certain way. And once you figured out how you want to lay them out, you put them in a pile, one on top of one another, and that's how you start putting them together. And I will be doing a video on how to put them together, and there's a couple of methods that you can use. I have a certain one that I like, and that's the one I use all the time. I find it's the best for me. I don't have a problem with anything coming apart, and I like that, because I have had to fix people's granny square blankets that have had issues because of stuff falling apart. So you want to try to stay away from, you don't want to make something like that and then have to say, oh my gosh, somebody said, oh, by the way, you have to fix my granny square blanket because it's came apart. And see what I'm saying about seamless? You cannot tell where you began this and where you ended this. It's just really is seamless. Now, this is what we're looking at. And when I say, so now here's your black. You can add your black to this. And I'm not going to do the whole thing because by now you're going to go in here. So as with all of them, or you're going to go in here, but you can go in any one of these that you want. I do, like I said, I make my slip knot. And I never use the like the corners when I do this. I always go on the side, because then what happens is I find that once I do that, it's easier. I weave in ends, and then like I said, and then I'll go from there, and you're gonna do a slip, and then you're gonna chain one. So, and then again, I look for that tail, and I grab it because I want the tail, and there it is. And then I start doing my first double crochet, because the chain one counts as nothing. 2, and there we go. And I've made my 3. The chain 1 counts as nothing. Let me show you again. I always like to show how I got there, especially when you're getting to the end. You always want to see what I call the end. Again, your slip knot. Again, right in here. This is going to be no different than when you did the others, even though it's, like I said, even though it's, you're going to chain 1, and you're going to go right in here, and that's 1, 2, 3, and I'll do a few more so you can see, and we'll just chain 1, and I'm going to show you, I want to just show you when I get to the corner. I want to show you that nothing's going to change when you make this, what I call your last round. If you're using black, if you're going to use another color, whatever the color may be, nothing's going to change. You're going to keep doing the same thing you were doing as you did with the other rounds. So nothing's going to change. You're going to chain 1 as you have been, and then so you're going to chain 1, And then you're going to go into this corner again, your first corner that you're doing. 2, 3, you're going to chain 2, and you're going to do 3 more. And you're going to keep doing that until you finish at this end, and this is what you'll have at the end. So this is how I change my colors. This is how I set up my stuff. I figure out what colors I want to do for each square, and I put them together, and I go from there. So if I want to use 3 or 4 different colors, I put all my stuff together. I make what I need to make with those colors. Then I move on to my next one and my next one until I get the desired ones that I want and the color scheme that I'm looking for. And you'll choose your own color scheme and figure out what you want. So this is the way I do my iconic, what I call an iconic granny square pattern, because I call it iconic because it's been around a long time, and I call it iconic because I used the black, which is the way it was originally made. And so this is Maria from Crochet A to Z. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please like and subscribe to my channel. And if you have any requests on things that you want to learn to make or you want me to show you, please leave it in the comments section. Thank you and have a great day.